Hey, good morning. Welcome to Odd Musings. I'm your host, Brett, and Scott will be joining me as soon as he can get on here. It's 10 o'clock, so it's Wednesday, so hey, we're ready to rock and roll here today, guys. Missed y'all last week. Sorry I couldn't be on. I was flying. I was traveling back from Vegas. I had a great time. I'm going to talk a little more about that when Scott gets on here. But I thought I'd start off with a little bit of ad sharing here. So we got to get our ads going here. So let me get the screen up here for you guys. Uh, Not doing it last week. It throws me off already. I've already forgot what I have to do. But Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. They take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital X-rays, massage therapy by foot lovers, or orthotic foot lovers, and then Young Living essential oils, as well as a whole host of other products that keep adding all the time. So definitely check out Loringer Family Chiropractic Center. In Belleville, give them a call 734-697-4244. There's my line at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We have a link at Musings for you guys. And then their Facebook here is at Loringer Family Chiro, which you can see right here on the screen there. And when you scroll down under services, you can see some of the stuff they do here, as well as there's a message button, as well as a call now to set up appointments to get that. So if you're anywhere in the Southeast Michigan area, I highly recommend them. They're in Belleville. They're in what's called the 5 Points, across from A&W. So you can have a nice root beer afterwards. And then in Dexter, they are located on Baker Road, just outside of the downtown area of Dexter. Nice small town out there, a lot of cool things. They also have an A&W, which is really good, so you can definitely check them out there. So highly check out Loringer Family Chiropractic. After traveling and flying stuff like that, because of some of the injuries I've had from my car accident, 16 years ago, I get kind of locked up a little bit. So I have been twice since I got back, just to fix a couple of the issues I had. One thing is they don't try to force you to come all the time. I've heard that from different chiropractors where they want you to come 3, 4 times a week sometimes for several months. And Lawrence isn't that way. They try to work with you, find out what your needs are. If you have insurance, they do take insurances. If your insurance covers it, they'll work with you on that. And the thing I always highly recommend is you find a good chiropractor like them that will take x-rays first before they try to adjust you. That's always key. So they would go over everything with you. They have a great introductory program. Just say, have you watched a video and go over things with you before they do anything with you on that. So definitely check them out in Belleville, Michigan. And like I said, we have a link for you guys. So definitely check out Lord Your Family Chiropractic Center. And then we'll see if Scott joins us here in a few minutes. He may be working because he's with does the real estate. He's with Teen Titans. Oh, there he is. I hear Scott pop in. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Did the ad read for Lawrengers, and we're all set whenever you're ready to talk about your Teen Titans
Team
real estate.
Titans.
Yeah,
Okay, pull up our page really quick.
yeah.
So this morning, my computer decided to start lagging really bad, so I had to reboot. I'm like, I better reboot.
Hey, I
So
know that problem.
yeah, so hopefully everything will go smooth. So I've had because of working on Crimson Shadows, I've
Mhm.
had like all these reference screens up, so I haven't like rebooted my computer in a long time because I had like 20 different
Uh,
pages up for all my historical references. I'm like, I gotta close these and reboot. This is bad. So, all right, but what we don't have to reboot is Team Titans of Real Estate. That's right, we're always here for you. Why? Because our relationships with you matter. We do more than just automated searches and relying on internet robots to tell us how to do get the results for you. We actually use our own God-given talents to analyze the market and come up with what a solution for you. One example is a house that we recently sold. Um, we did our full analysis, we did the research, and we determined the house was worth a certain amount. And then a neighboring house happened to go up on the same weekend, and that house was on the market. They went up. They were $20,000 above the price we set for the house that we were marketing, and our sellers were a little concerned, asking, "Well, should we have asked more? Because look how much they're asking." And I did the full analysis. I'm like, no, they're just overpriced. They did not have the attributes that this house had. They were, and I told them at the time. So our house was listed at 280,000. The competitor's house was 300,000. When I did the
mhm.
market analysis, I told them the most that house will sell for is 270,000. I go, that house is way overpriced. I go, but this is good news for you. because everybody who sees that house is going to compare it to your house and they're going to want your house. We sold
Mhm.
our house, our listing for I said 285 actually. It was 285, not 280. We sold it within 3 days. We got multiple showings, multiple offers, sold it within 3 days. Meanwhile, 3 weeks later, that house was still on the market. They made continuous price drops, and they just recently pulled it off the market and relisted it at 270 now. And and that's what I said was going to be the most. So
Yeah.
by pricing it wrong, what's going to happen is if they priced it right at the time, it should have sold for about 270 that house. By
Right.
overpricing though, what happens is it's much like it's a simple analogy, but it's so accurate. House shopping is like buying bread. When they put the bread out on the shelf, people want it and they're willing to pay full price. But soon as it's gone a little too long, they got to start slashing the prices because people don't want stale bread. And it's much the same way with houses is you have a very short window. A traditional market, you only have 2-3 weeks to hit your peak. In our
Mhm.
current market, these last 2 years, you have a weekend. And if you don't have it priced right and that weekend passes,
Mhm.
people are going to start asking, well, it's been on the market for 7 days. What's wrong with it? That's the mindset. We hear it all the time from buyers, and there could be nothing wrong with the house. And often, more times than not, the issue is it was overpriced. But because people are perceiving it as stale, and you're no longer showing up at the top of people's searches, you have to start dropping the price to entice people to come back out. And then you end up selling for less than what you were worth. And unfortunately, for these other people selling, I think that's what's going to happen to them. Time will
Mhm.
tell, but listings get stale. They have a shelf life. And once you've passed that shelf life, you have to put it on clearance and you end up selling for less than what you should have. So pricing is so crucial. And there's different aspects to pricing, but part of it is our job as realtors is to advise you what the current value of your house is in the current market. But what you got to realize too is what your house is worth and what you list at are two different things because your house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Yeah.
And if you price it right, you'll maximize how many people come out. You'll maximize the chances of multiple offers. And then in the multiple offer scenario is when people start going up in price. But if you overprice, you get very few showings. You only get maybe one offer. That person knows, oh, it's been on the market for a couple of weeks. I can underbid, try to get a lower price, and then you sell for less. So give us a call. Jill and I, we give you an honest assessment of what your house is worth. We're not trying to, I've heard some strategies where they just, actually, I know, I won't name names, where their whole strategy is they walk in and just ask the seller, well, what do you think the house is worth? And then the seller answers, and whatever they answer, their response is, that's exactly what I was thinking. They don't give an opinion on what your house is worth. They just want your listing to put a sign out front to get people to call, and they will, even if your house is overpriced, they will gladly sell that person a different house. We are trying to represent you and sell your house. So give us a call, 586-232-5144, and you'll get either Jill Webler or myself in that call. So
Excellent.
there you go.
Excellent. Yeah. So I was just mentioning, I got back from Vegas.
Yeah.
And the thing was in Vegas, I was thinking about is, we all take tons of pictures with our cameras and our phones and everything else nowadays. So there's millions of pictures. I think the art of the come on over to our house. We had a great vacation. Let's watch a slideshow has passed in a lot of ways, but not really. I'm going to do it here on Musings. So here is my slideshow for when we went to the Hoover Dam. So and that's a beautiful road. And right up there is some of Lake Mead, which you
So
can
I
definitely
went
see from.
to, I was
Yeah.
able to go to Hoover Dam. Here's Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey,
I was able to go to Hoover Dam back in 1998. So it's been a long time. It was
well, a
pre
couple of
9
things.
11.
Yeah, a couple of things have changed. One is back then.
We were allowed
Uh,
to go into the dam. Do they still allow
oh
that?
yeah, yeah, we did a tour. I'll give you some
Okay.
of that too. One thing that's changed though is the road that goes over the dam was the main road, and that's what everybody crossed when they were coming from
Hmm.
Arizona into Nevada from that area. that was kind of the crossing point. It was made famous in Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek and Matthew Perry back probably like 20 years, 20 something years ago. That movie came out, and every time she crossed the bridge, she'd always toss a coin over, which they tell you don't throw anything over the bridge because you might hit a worker and kill them. And
Right.
so after she did that, she probably killed the worker. So in that movie, it's a very, if you think about it that way, that movie was a very violent movie. So, uh, but it did have a Chewie in it, so that's always important. You can have a Chewie in it. But yeah, so we were driving in. So of course, driving in down the road, took a couple pictures just to get as we're coming in, and you can see the lake and some of the power lines, things like that. Just love the scenery around that whole area of Vegas and down at Boulder City, and everything else. Uh, love seeing the rock formations, the mountains, and stuff like that. So just a lot of cool things here. This is as you're coming in. This right here is one of the oldest. It's They use it to actually help build the dam. So they talked about that a little bit. But that's the new highway right there that bypasses the dam.
Oh, okay.
And so they built that came open up. I remember that opening up several years ago.
So
Um,
now people can throw things from an even higher point.
right. We did not go up on that. Might have been cool driving it, but we didn't really much on that. But we drove in. You can see the dam as we're coming in. You still
It
drive.
is fascinating.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's fascinating when you do the tour too. They show how it was constructed. The amount of concrete is just insane.
Yeah, they talk about that. We saw now 2 days before that we went to the dam. We were in Boulder and we're going to a steakhouse. I got a great Groupon for, and but we went a little bit early and kind of check out a couple little shops, and then check out there's a free museum at the old hotel there, and so we went and checked that out. And it talked about you walk through real quick. It's probably took us like half an hour, and it talked about how they built and did everything. It's really fascinating, and then a lot of that's still over at the regular dam itself. So I think it's in conjunction they have both, because Boulder City was built to house the workers that were working on the dam, because otherwise there was nothing there beforehand. So
the other funny thing about there too is everything is the dam. So the T-shirt is I all I got was this damn T-shirt. Or here's the damn.
This is my damn T-shirt. So, yeah, I got to put away over there, but I got a T-shirt I have, but mine just says Hoover Dam and has the year on it, and then I got a hat that matched it. I didn't care for the all the dam stuff. It was a little too much after a while. The joke was, but yeah, a bunch of different cool stuff. Like here's a great shot I got of the dam and stuff. Now, one thing to point out here is the water levels are very low, and we're at a historic drought right now. Yeah, it's a very historic drought. They've never had them this low before. And the main reason is lack of snow in the Rockies and the water coming down the Colorado into Lake Mead, because they built Lake Mead for the dam.
Yeah.
And
this is the side of the dam where the water should be high. The other side is the big drop. So this is the side that Lake Mead is bordering up against. You can actually see way up high. You see how high the water lines are.
Yeah.
Way up there. So
the highest ever got was in '83. They told us, and it was about 7 feet from the top here that would have gone over. But they have spill stuff on the side that helps cover that. Neat thing is with the dam, I go to the dam and then I watch the premiere episode of Westworld for this season, and they actually are at the dam in Westworld. In this future, someone has bought the dam and used it to store computers for computer storage. I mean, it's all just like servers and that. And they're it's a cartel basically owns it. And the building over here, over on this side, over on the right there, is actually they filmed from that building. They filmed on the dam and stuff like that. So I was like, that's kind of cool. I mean, you can tell they were actually there, because you couldn't recreate some of the stuff they did, and it didn't look CGI. And they were actually down in some areas. I'm going to show you once I get to that. But there's the lake there, and again, look at the coloration here. You could see.
Yeah, that's a great view of how low the water level dropped there. Wow.
Yeah. And it shows how deep that lake is too, if they're still able to go out there and boat.
It almost looks fake. It looks like somebody photoshopped like a color, or someone went through with a power washer.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. We just power washed Jill's concrete. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I've been reading for weeks that they're finding stuff. They found cars. So they've been finding barrels with bodies in them that the mob has dumped in there from the 70s. Things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that's showing up there. So I did quite a few pictures, but this is inside during the tour. And this is one of the tunnels as they take you down. And at this point, we're down several hundred feet. So it was pretty cool seeing how big some of this stuff and massive it is. And that's what I took a picture of that because this is what they use in lieu of rivets. And of course, our good friend Kevin works in the rivet industry for Bullhoff. And that's what they use to help build the dam. And it's a steel pen, and they're using pen stocks. So, and then of course, welcome to Hoover Dam sign. Once you're already down below the Hoover Dam, you see the sign. But here's where all the generators are. And because the water level is so low, they are only running 2 generators right now. One of them was down because it was being repaired. So it takes about a year to repair it. And that's it right there being repaired. That's the coil and everything else they pulled and separated so they could work on that. And then I could stick a couple cool shots. And I found a Santa Claus up there, which I thought was pretty cool. Someone left a ceramic Santa Claus up there like you have out at Christmas time. And this is another good shot of that. But in this scene here, in this place here, they did do some shots from Westworld in there. So, and then of course they had some green screen to make it look like there's actual servers going away from there. So, kind of cool. And then we got back outside. I believe Scott may have froze, and I don't know. Yeah, there you are. You froze.
I don't. I wonder if I could try. I'll try it another time, maybe next week, setting my phone up as a hotspot and going through my phone.
I've had to do that a couple times, and that might work a little bit better. So.
That might work better.
But we're kind of just going through the damn pictures here.
The damn pictures.
All these damn pictures I took. And this is down below. I took some shots of way down below here, and so you can see everything. How massive it is, really. I mean, you can see the water's a little low there. That's where a spillway is when they have extra water coming in.
Yep.
Floods. So just the place is just really cool, and I highly recommend it for if you got in Vegas. And it's only about half hour, 40 minutes from Vegas. It really isn't that far. And that they're working on renovating a lot of the area. Like these are a couple of the big statues they have there, and that normally you could go walk around there, but they're redoing that whole area. The flagpole didn't have a flag on it this time because of that renovations and that. But different angles I took in that. But yeah, here again you can see how low the water is.
Yeah.
Normally it would be up somewhere around here is where.
That's how it was when I went way up there.
Yeah. But as everything does, and the thing is, this tower here shows the Nevada time. On the other side, it showed Arizona time, which right now they're the same. But when the time change happens through the winter, there'll be an hour different.
Yeah, Arizona does not recognize daylight savings time.
So that was all the kind of fun pictures I took at the dam, and didn't take too many other pictures. I mean, I've been to Vegas enough times that I've taken enough pictures. I don't share one of those. We did go see Sting on Saturday night when we were there. I did take a couple pictures of that. I'm not going to share those today. But for the most part, I don't like to take tons of pictures and videos at concert because I want to enjoy the concert. I'd rather. Yeah, I used to kind of be like, I'd take my pictures like, oh, I got to record it all. And I'm like, there's no people doing it. I'll just look it up online if I really want it.
Yeah, I just like 1 or 2 pictures just so I have like a memory trigger. So when that picture comes up, but even like when I went and saw the Eagles, if they don't care, they don't care. But a lot of artists do care. We're artists ourselves, and they're performing live for you. And it's like, well, what's the big deal if I record? Well, first of all, other people are experiencing. You paid for that experience. Other people, you're stealing in a way.
Yeah.
From the artist because now other people don't have to pay. But the other thing is they care about their sound. They want their sound to sound right. And the sound isn't going to sound right through your phone, projected out through some cheap computer speaker. It's not going to give the true representation of how that artist sounds. And they want to sound their best for their audience,
Yeah. And I see a lot of people that constantly filming, videoing the whole thing. I was at Straight No Chasers, an acapella group we like to see, and we're going back to see them again in December. Encourages their fans to video and upload and stuff like that, but they're not like a huge name like a Sting or something like that. So a lot of that is good marketing for them. So people can see that, so they understand that. But when it's an unknown name, stuff like that, you don't need 10,000 people filming the exact same thing and uploading it. People already know how good the band or the performer is, and you should just go see it.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, and I got to tell you, it was his band was fantastic. I was so glad. Kevin, being a huge fan of Sting and the Police, is one that orchestrated this, and I'm so glad because I had a great time. One thing I did learn about Caesar is they have a great view everywhere, and beers start at $25.
Holy cow!
I know. That's why what you
Wow.
get. That's why, and we saw people actually leaving during the concert a few times around us and going to getting drinks. Come back. I'm like, first of all, it's only a 2 hour concert. Second of all, really, $25 beers? Go downstairs, drop
Yeah,
$10 on a
I'd rather
machine,
do
they'll
$25 on
bring
the
you.
slots.
Yeah, put $25 in the slots, and they'll bring you free beer for the next hour.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds
So
like it was a fun trip, and
yeah, we had a great time. Now we're going back in September for the show because unfortunately the convention got moved in September. Kevin and I, it'll be just Kevin and I for that show, and then Scott's going to be filling in at the Bardstone tables for Monroe. So you guys will
Monroe
be able to
Comic
see
Con.
Scott
Yep.
here at Monroe Comic Con for that.
I'm looking forward to that because I really like Gary. He puts on a great show.
Yep.
He's one of the, yeah, I think it's a dying breed out there of promoters who actually care about having a good show for their vendors.
And
So
we found
yeah,
a lot
I'm
of
looking
these
forward.
smaller shows like that, as I always call them, intimate shows. Those, I would say about 98% of the time, those promoters actually really do care because they care about the
Right,
industry, they care about the show itself. They want people to make money. They try their best to get,
right,
and you can't control certain aspects. You can control certain things. So,
right.
but yeah, I was
So
actually looking forward to
I'm
doing
looking
it, but
forward to it.
unfortunately with COVID, everything keeps getting flopped around. So,
Yeah. So and then for me, I absolutely love doing Vegas, but it works out better for me this way because of as people know, the situation people have been following. Jill's daughter Emily is this week is a critical week for her. She's been getting prepped for a bone marrow transplant, which happens Thursday. So far, she's gone through a couple rounds of chemo. She's gone through 4 radiation treatments. She has 2. Well, actually, at this time, she should have finished her 5th treatment by now.
okay.
Tonight will be her last radiation treatment. And then tomorrow, so today they're actually withdrawing the bone marrow from the donor. And tomorrow she will receive the replacement bone marrow. And should her body accept it, like we're praying for, and it's on paper, he's a perfect match. All the markers match. So things should go well. And that will reboot her immune system. And she'll actually have a brand new immune system for that. So, and then there's going to be about 6 to 8 weeks of monitoring in U of M hospital. And then after that, it's going to be like a solid year of follow-up appointments and things like that. But I do want to point out a lot of people are asking, so many people are just so awesome. And they are asking, well, I want to get something for her. What does she want? Can I send something? So we decided to put together an Amazon wish list for her. I just posted the link in the comments there. If you go to my page, my personal page, I shared Jill's post there. So we asked Emily some things she wants. Some things are just pure fun for her. Other things are more practical, like for instance, DoorDash gift cards. She's going to be in the hospital for the next 8 weeks, and while U of M's food is pretty decent in the cafeteria, you start wanting other food, and so we can get DoorDash delivered to the hospital. And so if you get the DoorDash, we put DoorDash gift cards in the wish list thing. So there's some other like Starbucks. There's a Starbucks nearby. Her sisters will run and get Starbucks for her. So things like that. So we did that for those kind of things as well. But it's whatever you want, and we don't expect anything from people. But people have been so generous already. We posted this last night, and a bunch of the items already went off the list because so many people want to do something for her. So she's a champ. She's doing great, handling everything very well. They expect her. What you see in this picture, this was just the other day. They have a therapy dog that goes room to room, and Emily just loves when the dog visits her. And you see her hair is growing back from her last rounds of treatment, but they're expecting it to fall out again. But her hair comes back pretty quick. What's interesting, though, some fun facts about bone marrow transplants is when her hair comes back, it might not be hers. It might be the donors because she will actually have 2 sets. Typically, you get 2 sets of DNA in you. You end up having, like in your red blood cells, will typically continue to be your own DNA, but
Mhm.
your white blood cells and certain other systems will actually end up having the DNA of the donor. So you become, it's a chimera effect, they call it, because you have two sets of DNA in you. So theoretically, if you were to commit a crime, the donor might get blamed because they might find the donor's DNA there. So it's a very interesting thing. And sometimes when the hair grows back in, it can be the donor's hair. Um, we did learn that the donor has seasonal allergies. So they said she may develop seasonal allergies now because she has that person's immune system.
Mhm.
So another interesting thing, just and then I'll get off the topic, is because she's going to have a brand new immune system. Um, all her past immunities that she has developed either naturally or like at childbirth you get all those different vaccines when you're born, those are gone. She is like a newborn now. She has a brand new immune system. She's going to have to redevelop her own antibodies for everything under the sun, whether it's a cold or anything else. So it's a full reboot, which is why for the next year there's going to be a lot of follow-up and making sure everything's taken okay.
Well, we're all
So
praying for her, of course. So.
yeah. So Jill wants to thank everyone. She's been really moved by the outpouring from people. Cancer it's just at the point, it's everywhere.
Mhm.
If it's not you, it's somebody you know. Even right now, there's another young boy named Price, and I've been following him for a long time. I actually know, I think it's his uncle, Andy, and I've been following them, and they've been going through a lot. And he's actually on the same floor as Emily right now. And then right around the corner, down the hall, in another unit, same floor, our neighbor, his brother-in-law, I think it is in there fighting cancer. So like we know we got, and then there's another person we don't know personally. Turns out they live a half mile from me, and so there's three other people right there that we all have a connection there. So it's just unfortunately, it's everywhere,
Yeah.
and but all you can do is fight it, and go on. That's what you do.
Yep.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
So, yeah, we got wow. I've been reading a couple things online today. I will rewatch the last episode of Kenobi, and just such an enjoyable episode altogether. We're going to kind of cover the whole series today, since it's been over a week since it aired. Y'all should have had time to watch. If you didn't, then you're not watching it anyway. So,
And then you obviously don't care.
but had some great lightsaber battle in this last episode.
It was good. I loved the progression that they did with Obi-Wan, where he starts off completely disconnected from the Force, very rusty. He couldn't even shoot. He had the aim of a stormtrooper. Um, um, but they slowly he was knocking the rust off, and he got better and better and better. And by the end, the final battle, you see the old Obi-Wan, how he's doing his moves, and he might not have been fully to the old ways, but you could tell. And even Vader says, "Your strength has returned."
Yeah. But he also commented on his weaknesses.
Yeah.
Which is typical of the Sith. Oh, you're weak, man. You got some weaknesses there. But such a great episode to kind of wrap up this season.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research again this morning, and there's been no true confirmation of a second season, though there's been several articles saying it, but until it comes from Disney themselves, I'm not gonna believe it, because I mean they can still do anything with it. But last up the last couple of days that originally, and we talked about this before, is they were going to do 3 Kenobi movies, but because of Solo not doing well, of course that got scrapped. But I guess this first season is an expanded version of that first movie. So I forget the guy's name off the top of my head right now. Joby, I believe his name is the one that wrote that script, and he's credited throughout the series because it's his story, but he did not actually work on the series. He said.
Yeah.
Well,
in my understanding from another article I read is they did have to make a lot of changes in that a lot of elements of the story that they were originally planning ended up being too similar to what they ended up doing in The Mandalorian. So
Mhm.
they did have to make some changes just so it didn't feel like it was the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
and that
but
makes a lot of sense with that. So,
and
uh,
while I absolutely love Star Wars on the big screen, I'm glad they did this as a series because they can go so much deeper into the characters in this format. I mean, basically, we got a trilogy as far as runtime for this season. Actually more. you
yeah,
know,
and
so
that's the thing I've been enjoying. And there was a quote here, and I'm not a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy anymore, and haven't been for a while now. But she did say something in May that she says that Star Wars now is about persistent storytelling. So instead of trying to go trilogies, they're looking at having good TV shows, one-off films, novels, comics, and of course, I think they failed completely with the High Republic stuff because it went way too out of bounds from what
yeah,
Star Wars really is. But I agree with the whole fact that they should go storytelling. We've gotten some great storytelling out of Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. Well, I think I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett. Did have its weaknesses. It was still good. And then Kenobi shows what they can do too. And they're already talking now with Mandalorian season 3 coming out in January. Um, that sounds like it's just ramping up to be just a great season, and they're tying in a lot of Mandalore and going back to
yeah,
the heart of Mandalorians.
yeah. Well, regarding the High Republic stuff, the issue is their approach. There, there is two competing thoughts on what Star Wars is in Lucasfilm right now, and the fact of the matter is the Filoni versus winning. Kathleen Kennedy has her vision. The prequel or the sequel movies were her vision,
Mhm.
and it in there killed the franchise. Episode 8,
Yeah,
and even if you like Episode 8, The Last Jedi, you can't deny the facts. I mean, the marketing, the numbers, everything, every single measurement of Star Wars plummeted after The Last Jedi, and it was bad. Um, then the High Republic is Kathleen Kennedy's vision, also of what Star Wars should be. That has nobody has cared about it.
I've
Now
not
we do,
seen anything really on it.
yeah. Now the last ditch effort, I think, for them is this Sith Acolyte series because that is supposed to take place during that period.
Mhm.
So I think that's going to be their attempt to bring it. Now, it can be a very exciting period for Star Wars fans because it's a period that's not been explored. But stop trying to push agendas.
Yeah,
Filoni is the key with these are why they're successful is Filoni understands the full vision of what George wanted, whereas Kathleen Kennedy backstabbed George. He had written what the sequel trilogy was going to be. She convinced Disney we don't need these 40-year-old white male fans. We need to change it. And she got Disney to scrap his entire thing behind his back. And he didn't even know it until the first screening of the movie that he did.
yeah,
And that's when it was revealed to him, oh, we threw out your entire script.
yeah,
And because she had a vision of what the new Star Wars fans should look like. Just tell good stories. Star Wars has always attracted a diverse fan base
yes.
without having agendas.
Mhm.
Stick to this. And Filoni that's what Filoni's doing. He's going back to the essence. And it's working.
Yeah, and the thing is that when we hear about the whole we need to diversify. They've coming from the '70s and the '80s when the original trilogy came out. Things were different in Hollywood in a lot of ways. As it progressed through the prequels that George did, a lot of things changed on who was in it, the casting and things like that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was never, he never really made anything about race except for showing the fact that the Empire hated everybody but themselves, and in a lot of ways even hated themselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was the whole thing was you had your true evil and you had your good. And then as we learned, even within good, there was always done from a certain point of view, to quote
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan, things like that. They dealt with a lot of those different issues, stuff like that. But when you try to come out with anything and be way too agenda based, I don't care what your object is, you a lot of times lose story because you want to spend too much time preaching whatever that agenda is. Tell a good story. That's what's been great about the Mandalorian. It's been great about the Obi-Wan Book of Boba Fett. It's been fun on that. I enjoyed the Episode 7 Star Wars. Episode 8, we've discussed at length how bad it was, and episode 9 tried to save what they could, and it wasn't much, but they kind of just wrapped it up. And now, if they want to come back and revisit Ray, Finn, and some of those characters and move past all that, I'm fine with it because we liked a lot of those characters. Scott and I talked about that at length.
Oh yeah,
And dislike of the movie is not a dislike of actors or
yeah,
characters. Same thing
for sure.
within Obi-Wan here. A dislike of an acting performance is not a dislike of the person or of the
Right.
character itself. And that's where
Yeah.
too many people are not understanding um, criticism.
Right. Well, and to be fair, I think there is a group of people out there, but they're not. It's not that they're fans. There are people out there in the internet is, to put it in Obi's one's word, a place of scum and villainy. It's there's all these keyboard warriors out there, and some of them don't even care what it is. They just want to stir controversy.
Yeah.
So you will have people post, and this was proven before with the whole Finn thing, and Star Wars fans are ridiculing him because he's a black stormtrooper. It turned out to be a hoax set by some people in 4chan who wanted to just simply create a news story. So they're like, it was all unveiled that they created a fake outrage and started posting stuff to get news coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got to watch for. Actual Star Wars fans, I really don't know anybody who, like, for instance, Rose, great character as far as that for this example. Her character sucked, but it had nothing to do with the actress. We understand it's not the actress.
Yeah.
But it was her character. And honestly, as far as Star Wars storytelling go, and me and Brett talked off camera, and he has the same opinion as me. The story they should have followed was her sister Paige.
Yeah.
She was amazing but she only had like 30 seconds of screen time, and they killed her off.
Yeah, and then we get introduced to Rose, who is a technician in the bottom of the spaceship, and they made Finn regress back to the beginning of Force Awakens. So he ends up finding out he's going to run and hide and escape off the ship, but she's going to convince him to stay, and she became this, supposed to be this great hero, but realistically, it was all not. She didn't do anything. I mean,
well, she was more of an obstacle and a hindrance than anything, and that was the problem with that character. But the actress herself, she did a fine job.
Yeah,
it's just she was a crappy character,
and they tried to create this whole almost a love story between the two.
Yeah, which I love how they shot it down. And but see, I also think there was some payback from Abrams, because Rian Johnson tried to dismantle almost every single element Abrams created. Yeah. Rian Johnson dismantled. So I think when Abrams came back in 9, it was like, okay, we can do.
Yeah, here's Rose, and she's relegated to nothing. She's going to sit back and
a console. He's like, well, you should come with us. No, I got some chores. Yeah. Go without me.
Yeah,
enough of them.
But there's a lot of the country with Rose happened during Kenobi with Reva's character, or the actress. I had nothing against her personally. I just thought she was very flat in the beginning. She got a little bit better at different times. Now, the thing is, there was a bit of a redemption, as we talked about. We speculated a redemption story with her. They changed this from being a series finale to a season finale. So that's where a lot of the speculations are going to be a season 2. And they left it open enough to revisit Kenobi. He offers at the end to Bail Organa and his wife and Prince Leia, if they ever need him, to call on him. So he is available. Yeah. That also leaves it open if they decide not to go forward when Leia shows up in A New Hope over Tatooine, and help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope, becomes that ties into that too.
Yeah.
But with Reva's character, the third sister, she goes to kill Luke in this episode because she wants to make Anakin feel the way she felt,
right?
But not realizing that fully realizing I think Anakin doesn't even know he has a son.
Right.
So, but I think she wanted to kill him and then tell Anakin, "Hey, you had a son, and I killed him," and that was her whole goal.
Right.
But she still was internally. She still had good in her. She still had the Jedi ways. And during the battle of Obi-Wan and Vader, there we had the battle on Tatooine between Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru. Which I love the fact that we got the same 2 actors from the original.
I was curious about Bonnie Pice coming back, because I felt like they were purposely not showing her in earlier episodes. So I was, oh, maybe the actress just didn't want to come back, so they wrote around her. But they brought her back. They just saved her to the more towards the end.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's her, and I've seen her at shows, and it's like, yep, that's her.
yep, she was as Aunt Beru. Aunt Beru, it was like we're staying and fighting. I
Yep,
liked how they did that. Riva was wounded from her battle with Vader and the Grand Inquisitor there, stabbing her. So she wasn't at full power. So that helps explain part of why Owen and Beru were able to hold her off. She
yeah,
wasn't at full strength, but also, with you know, and I said this last week, but I'll say it again. To give credit to Moses Ingram, the
yeah,
actress who played Riva. Um, I think what the problem is at least for me, for her as an actress, is I think the problem was she just doesn't have that gravitas to be an evil person. I don't think it's in her nature. So I think it was coming across forced. That combined with her inexperience, she's only done 6 other things prior to this. But when she was doing more the good guy side of her character, that I thought she did very good in those parts.
yes,
And I could totally accept her based on what I saw. I think she would make a good Jedi character or a gray Jedi or a conflicted Jedi, however you want to word it. But she did good in those scenes. I thought she did excellent there. So I just didn't like her as a pure bad guy.
yeah,
But at that conversion, the conversation she had with Kenobi, I thought she did great. So, so I do
yeah,
look
and
forward to her
well,
in the
it's
future
interesting to
with
see
the
what they
way
do.
they've developed.
Yeah, because she, when Obi-Wan arrives to save the day, basically, she has already brought Luke back after knocking him out, and hands him over. But even there in that fight, she commented how she could sense that Owen and they truly love the boy like it was their own. And Owen says it, he is our own. He never felt any different, even though it was always would have been his Anakin's a step brother, so that would have been his step nephew, and has no blood relation since his father had married Shmi Skywalker after the fact. Um, but it's one thing we saw is like Owen gets hurt in his leg, so kind of helps explain his limp he had in the original New Hope and a couple of little things here and there.
I
It's like, kind of things that they're trying to tie into there too.
do
So
want to point out one thing too. Uh, am I back?
you're just running slow,
Am I back?
sort of.
I think I'm catching back up here.
You may have to go on your phone, Scott. So as Scott figures this out, um, I'll go back to Riva a little bit when she's talking with Obi-Wan, um, and at the end there, and she basically hands over her lightsaber. But there was originally supposedly the finale here was going to be an hour and a half long, but it was just about an hour, and so they took out a bunch of stuff. And I think a lot of they took out was a little bit what was going to happen with Riva. So I don't. Scott's still kind of like in there. Hey, I got a new computer, so mine doesn't do that hard read anymore. So that's pretty cool. So, I know it was my old laptop that was acting up before, and Scott though is on a shared internet, so he may have to seriously think about trying that hotspot with the computer there, and getting off the network there in the office. That might help it out a little bit, especially if everybody's doing those classes and webinars, and this time of year it seems there's a lot of that going on. Um, so hopefully he'll come back here in just a moment so we can finish this great conversation about this. The other thing was looking back at I mentioned earlier who the Joby Harold was the executive producer on this, and he's one that took the scripts and worked with the people that rewrite it into 6 hours. It was originally Stuart Beatty was the original writer of the original movie. And are you back?
I hope so.
Yeah, I kind of just covered a couple different things outside that. I mentioned about Reva handed over her lightsaber, basically got rid of it. But speculation for me is the about half hour that you and I talked off there about was taken out of this episode.
Right.
Probably next time. I think it was a big portion of that was what happened to Reva, the third sister. So it would have been here's how her path took off.
Could have been.
I'm wondering, in some ways, since it's this is still Kathleen Kennedy kind of pushing some of this. if we're going to see her go into a separate storyline. There's been speculation of doing the one character, guy from Shameless, as his own series, and I could see her popping into that.
Well, she could easily be popping into the Andor series also,
Yes, I could see her maybe getting with
because that'll be the same timeline.
yeah, with what's his name, O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, that was part of that controlled the ship that Obi-Wan's on.
Yeah.
He's basically going on to help get the rebellion going more.
Right.
And I can see her becoming part of the rebellion in some way on that side factor and different adventures outside of the rebels and things like that.
Yeah. One thing I want to bring up too is you mentioned like how great the lightsaber battles were and stuff, but we had this awesome moment
yeah,
where Kenobi cuts off the left side of Vader's mask, but the lining up of where Kenobi strikes his helmet, it lines up with this huge scar that Vader has on the top of his head.
yes.
And here they show here, you can see it does line up like perfectly. So the theory, they don't confirm this in the series, but the theory is that was caused by Obi-Wan there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's something that when you see the original, Return of the Jedi, it's just a scar. Nobody thinks nothing of it. So it's definitely open for them to interpret as how it got there. I thought it was perfect. I liked it because that whole scene of the we had basically the two lightsaber battles in this episode. The one where Vader basically won and Obi-Wan was buried under rocks, and he held him up by the Force until he just got the power from within, which was, looking back on Luke and Leia, and it forced him to realize what he had to do. And then he goes after Vader, and that's where Obi-Wan got very intense, very much like how we saw him in the original, in the prequels, especially in like episode 1, episode 2 against like Grievous, things like that, or 3 against Grievous. But it was just very intense, and of course he basically whoops Vader's behind, and this goes to prove too, because I mean the last thing Vader said to him actually buries him is he called him the Master still, and there's still people say, well, how can you keep calling him Master, or he's better than Obi-Wan now. And then when he sees him, it's like, last time you saw me, you were the Master, and I was the learner. Vader learned during the last fight, even, and through this, that he's still not the Master. That hadn't fully accepted the fact that he could be a Master. And in this episode, we get that with the Emperor. So after Obi-Wan whoops us behind, and we see half the mask on, Obi-Wan realized he had to take out that chest plate, and once he started just bashing that in, he had the advantage because he saw a machine. And of course, then we get the final revelation that from Hayden Christensen, we get to finally actually see him, other than earlier in the series where the helmet comes on, and he says that no, Obi-Wan, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. I am what's left.
Yeah, and they did a good job there, and I hope they are able to explore more of Vader. Like in the comics, what I loved about Vader's character is there's a scene where Vader fights Darth Maul in the comic books, and Darth Maul is like, "You're weak, you're still half Jedi. You'll never be a true Sith," and they're fighting, and Vader ends up defeating Maul, and by actually Maul is behind him, and Vader activates his own lightsaber through his chest, through the back, and impales Maul. And as Maul's dying, he's like, what could you possibly hate so much to give you so much strength? And Vader's words are myself, because he blames himself for Padme. He blames himself for for the Jedi Order and stuff. And I really hope they're able to explore that side of Vader, of this self-hate he's developed that has sustained him through the dark side, and to explain a lot, and I could see him blaming himself as, I killed Anakin, that life I destroyed. It's my fault. So I thought that'd be an interesting thing to do. Here's a quick little list here. Obi-Wan Kenobi finale explains 11 New Hope mysteries. For the uninformed, A New Hope is the original Episode 4 movie in 1977. The first.
Yeah, otherwise known as Star Wars, and that's how they credit it in all the series. That is based on Star Wars by George Lucas. So,
yep. So Leia inherits this holster from Tala. That's kind of becomes her, because Leia lives on a very peaceful planet. Oh, what's the word? A pacifist, a
Yes.
pacifist planet. But here she is armed. Now she has her holster, which she uses to hold Lola in. But it kind of helps foreshadow where she is going, where she's going to be this leader who also has a pistol and is willing to battle in the front line. So I thought that was a cool little nod there. Um, Also with Luke, he lives on a farm. They have to learn how to shoot, and so we can now see Owen and Beru teaching Luke how to shoot because
Oh yeah, I mean they have a lot of besides they had talk about sand people were attacking. They did that at different times. They have a lot of creatures that show up, so they had to be able to, and of course in this, talk about the T-16, but whomping womp rats and that. So
yeah, I did like this. In the original movie, oh, Luke knows of Ben Kenobi. He's like, oh, he's some desert hermit. My uncle knows him. So they had this little introduction between Obi-Wan and Luke at the end. We got the hello there that everyone wanted to hear. So I thought that was a nice little scene, a nice introduction. And it kind of even, in a way, Obi-Wan also met Anakin when Anakin was that age, so back in episode 1. So that was a really cool little interaction there, I thought.
that was pretty cool.
And we did see Obi-Wan did end up giving the T-16 toy to Luke that he's playing with there. I love, there's a funny meme where people are like, at age 18, Padme Amidala was running a planet. Leia was a senator, and Luke is doing vroom vroom noises with his toys.
Yes.
We also, it just shows these different connections. He's no longer being hunted, so he's wearing his Jedi robes and this.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, we see when Vader's talking with the Emperor, and the Emperor basically looks and said, "Look, you sound, give him all kinds of things." He's like, "Oh no, you're my master." So at this point, that's when Vader decides to stop chasing after Obi-Wan and move on in his Sith training.
Yeah, and then here it's like the whole "now I am the master" line. This goes back to Kenobi saying, "As long as you're controlled by this emotion, you'll always be the Padawan." He calls Darth Vader Darth in A New Hope, so they kind of work that in where he's like, "Goodbye, Darth." Yeah,
Yeah,
because Darth isn't really his name; it's his title.
yeah.
So why Leia is familiar with Obi-Wan, the whole story behind, from a certain point of view where Obi-Wan tells him Vader killed his father. Well, Anakin is the one that actually tells him that.
Right.
So those are a couple little pointers on that article there.
Yeah.
What other characters I'm trying to think if there's other plot lines we need to quickly mention from the show.
Well, a lot of it really gave us a little bit look at the galaxy that way, but it was very tight, and that the Inquisitors at this point are still around. So I mean, there's still things they could visit with them. I don't think we know. If I'm forgetting something, like Rebels or like that, we don't know how the Inquisitors actually disappear. They're still around. The Grand Inquisitor is still with Vader right now and working for him.
Well,
so it's like, what happens to them when they feel they're done?
Well, in the Rebels, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
I mean, the series has been around for years. The Grand Inquisitor dies by Kanan. Kanan kills him.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
The second sister and third brother, or not third, the fifth brother, second sister, fifth brother are killed by Darth Maul when they're battling. When Ahsoka's there, they're in that room where Ahsoka ends up battling Darth Vader. Maul actually kills off the fifth brother, and then he damages the second sister's twirling lightsaber. She uses it to fly, but it falls apart while she's flying. Now we don't know for sure she dies, because in Star Wars, if you don't see them die, they might not be dead. So, but she plummets, and it supposedly is dead.
So we still have some stuff with them we could see if they decide to continue through that Rebels era prior to A New Hope. Maybe see something in Andor too.
I hope they bring the second sister back because that's played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. I would love to see her in live action. I mean, she's a great actress. Let's bring her back.
if she's up to the physicality of it and things like that. So I think it'd be fun.
Oh, she will have no
I think
choice.
it'd be great if we could get like her and Freddie Prinze Jr. and him as Kanan, and
Yep,
that'd be awesome.
that'd be great.
So, I haven't watched this yet. You said hello there, and I was looking for something else. And I found this. It's this hello there.
Hello there. Don't be afraid. Rest easy, son. You've had a busy day. Hello there. What brings you out this far? Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in so long. And I can tell you everything that you want to know. It starts with a polite hello. Hello. Hello there.
I love it. I like the one. There's a meme where, or a GIF, whatever you want to call it. They have it synced together with that hello there in episode 4, the one from the Kenobi series, and then also when he's in episode 2 or episode 3 fighting Grievous, and it's synced so all 3 at the same time say hello there. So it's the scenes leading up to it. So that was good.
Yeah, what I was looking for, there's a comedian called Marty Allen, and he was known for his voice going, hello there. And it was dare as in DERE. So, and that. So, I think that would have been funny if someone took like the Obi-Wan and changed to that guy, hello there. I gotta say, I thought they hit a lot of great points in this. I'd love to see them come back for another season to do another story. They don't have to do like constant tons of seasons of this. Just another season of this, I think, and then deal with him. It could be a couple years later. Leia's a little bit older if they want to bring that aspect into it. But I think there's other aspects they could dive into.
Well, I'm still going to hold to my theory. Now, I thought for sure it was going to appear in the final, like in a post-credit scene. There was no post-credit scene. But I think that's because they were originally intending this to be a standalone season.
Yes.
And they made the changes late. But I'm going to still hold. My prediction is the main villain for season 2 of Kenobi is going to be Darth Maul. We know he's alive at this time. We know Darth Maul has an insane passion for going after Kenobi at this point.
Yeah.
So it would be a natural fit. They've never finished the Crimson Dawn story. It would be a great way to introduce Crimson Dawn.
Now, in Rebels, though, we do get the final battle of Kenobi and
right. So. But that happens 5 years after this. So depending how far ahead they jump, they could easily fit Kenobi and Darth Maul into more battles.
Yeah.
So that would be great. But we could also get in season 2, which would be a fan dream come true, Darth Maul versus Darth Vader in live action.
That would be cool.
So the timeline can work depending where they put it. So that's going to be my prediction, my bold prediction. Season 2, we're going to get Darth Maul versus Darth Vader. We're going to get the Crimson Dawn storyline we've been wanting to have finished up from the Solo movie. And we'll see.
Yeah. Now, we do get, at the end of this episode, though, the one thing a lot of people did want, we got to see Qui-Gon again.
Yes.
And it also explained the fact that, everybody's like, well, wasn't Kenobi spending this whole time, like, learning? No, he wasn't ready. And
yeah, he kept trying. He kept reaching out, but it'd always be no answer.
Yeah. And of course, then he was oppressing his own force, so he didn't get detected. And now that he's come back to full power and he's not hiding, his essence is basically out there, the force essence of that. And as he left his cave to move to a new place, that's when he sees Qui-Gon.
Yeah. And I think I think another key aspect is there was an internal healing to Obi-Wan. I think he was carrying a great on his shoulders of failure, but going out, leaving Tatooine, seeing that people are helping each other, that other Jedis have survived. I think accepting Anakin is dead now, and all of these different things, I think, helped heal him spiritually as well to allow him to hear Qui-Gon. At least that's how I read into it. But
and I was reading through a little timeline that was put together on Gamer Rant. this is done prior to the show coming out, but for years, yeah, it's 9 years before the Battle of Yavin is the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi. They say that 7 years is when Obi-Wan and Luke first met, when he saves Luke from a crate dragon. And they were questioning, they said some of the events of the show will retcon this, but they seem unlikely. Well, we now know they actually met Luke prior to that happening. But that could be something that we could see happen in the next season too, if they wanted to have that particular element of storytelling that was probably from the Legends series somewhere.
Well, and the other thing is people need to realize Star Wars is an ever growing universe. I mean, they started over, and they've declared comics and everything to be canon. And it's just as simple. I think eventually they're going to go back to George Lucas's rule of a 2-tiered canon system where there's canon, which is the movies, and then there's everything. There's the expanded universe, which was semi-canon, but George always said, I reserve the right to change it. Yeah. And then he would change it through the movies. And then the books would do a great job of coming up with stories to alter it so it would fit into the movies and explain why certain things were different. So I think that eventually when you have so many media outlets, video games, comics, books, movies, TV series, cartoons, eventually there's going to be things that conflict. It's just fact. Even in real life, when you're working with real fact, multiple points of view can conflict with each other. So it's okay if there's minutia that maybe doesn't line up.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So
as long as the major story isn't changed and retcon, minute details.
Until we can finally get to actually retcon kind of 7, 8, 9.
I'm still holding on to Ahsoka through the Veil of the Force. I doing something.
Yeah, and we get that next year too. So that'll be interesting. So hey, this was a great show. Yes. This coming up on Monday is the Independence Day holiday for the United States here. So happy 4th of July.
Great. I can't believe it's July already coming up.
I know, it's kind of crazy how fast everything's going again, and that. So definitely be safe, have fun out there. I know it's going to be with being on a Monday, it's a lot of busy weekends. So I expect to be busy. I'm working shift through Sunday. I might want to take the 4th off because it's never really busy on the holiday. But and then I'll be back at it regular next week. And then we've got coming up in a few weeks here. San Diego Comic-Con. Kevin and I will be there. Kevin's got a table. We'll let you guys know what's going on for sure once we get out there. For anybody that has to coming to the San Diego Comic-Con to come get some of the Crimson Shadows books as well as the Poe Macabre stuff, and we'll have a bunch of the.
And if you're going, I will not be at table BB02. This is my first time in 13 years not going. It'll be weird.
Hopefully, in the next couple of years, Scott can get back out there.
Probably not. It's California.
Who knows? Things might change. So, but until next week, we'll look for you guys next Wednesday. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe.
Take care.